Hello everyone! Today I'm going to show you how to 10x your backend development.
What are you talking about, Willis? That him!
Now I know that is a big statement, I know. But let's understand the why and the how, especially if you're a startup or a business looking to innovate. When it comes to developing a backend, the options are endless. We often start by looking at our preferred languages and even consider the hipster framework along the way.
Not hipster. Hipsters haven't discovered it yet. It's underground.
But this is where the spiral starts and we end up coding up a solution from scratch. Why? Well, because we can.
I'm a hero!
So, why is this even an issue, you may ask? Well, because any extra time you end up using on this project ends up costing money. This could be from infrastructure, further development, patching up your bugs, to project management, yada, yada, yada. You know how the story goes.
Is yada yada bad?
Oh, yada yada's good.
Now, if you don't see anything wrong with that picture, we need to talk.
You know who you are.
However, for those of you who have been around and are looking to focus on product delivery and a tool that will take care of security out of the box, then you're in for a treat. Today, I'm going to talk about Strapi CMS as a backend framework.
What did you say? What did you say?
Yes, I did say CMS, but not just any CMS. Strapi is an API-first platform that is fully customizable and self-hosted or cloud-hosted if that's your flavor. Most people using Strapi, currently they use it for the CMS, and there are plenty of videos on how to get started on that side of things. Our focus today is to take you from zero to hero and deliver a battle-tested product that scales, takes care of security out of the box, with a ribbon on top, and even provides you with cost savings. So, this is the first of a 5-video series where we're going to dive into the nitty-gritty of it all to quickly and securely build a backend that takes you to Mars and back. Obviously, the moon's going to be our first stop.
I fly to the moon. I shrink the moon.
And this being the first of 5, we're going to start by creating a custom API and integrate security. And all of this will be achieved under 10 minutes, or I owe you a beer. A virtual beer, that is. So let's go. All right. Let's get this party started, people. So before we go any further, I'm going to assume that you have npm, Node, and Strapi installed. If you don't, not to fear, all is good. I'll provide the links below on the details, but basically what we want to do is get nvm installed. This is completely up to you, but this is my recommendation. It's in Node package manager that makes your entire developer experience smooth and efficient, which is what we're looking for, efficiency and consistency, not to mention. This works across Linux, Mac, and Windows. Once you've installed nvm, go to Strapi. On the homepage, you'll find the link here to create a project. So what you do is just copy this, replace my project for your project. So you can call this, Hello World, for example, the good old Hello World. That will download and install on your project, but it'll create your project rather. So let me just very quickly demonstrate how nvm works. So if we go to my command line for my project, go to nvm list. And at the moment, I've got 2 versions of Node installed, 18.20 and 20.11. So these are basically the latest LTSs for those versions. Now, let's say I want to go back to version 19 of Node. I'm going to simply type in nvm install 19. That's going to go download that version that we're looking for, version 19.9, which was the latest LTS for that version, along with the npm, well, the corresponding npm. And if I type in nvm list, it gives us a list of available Node versions. Now, I want to be using 20, so let's just go in here and say nvm use 20. And because it's the only 20 version in there, I didn't have to specify the full version. So it just automatically detects and it tells me that I'm now using version 20.11. And to verify that, let's just type in npm list and we can see that this is the default. Right, so now we're able to continue. What we're going to do now is we're going to generate our API bundle by typing in the following command. So npx strapi generate. Again, this is underneath the project. It's going to go download and give us a number of options. The first default option here is API. So make sure you pick API as the default option. I'm going to say this, I'm going to call this a bundle getting started. Is this for a plugin? No. And voila, we have an API bundle. So now let's go to your source code. Underneath src, API, we can see our bundle getting started. And underneath the bundle, we have all the dependencies. We have the controllers, routes, and services. We will go into further detail for the next set of videos as to what each of these do particularly. But to begin with, routes and controllers are the main two. Routes makes the API available to the Strapi admin for it to then control the access, roles, permissions, and what have you. Controllers is basically where we specify business logic or extend our application or talk to other applications. Let's just focus on those two for now. So to very quickly verify that, go to our newly generated bundles and uncomment the code that comes as default. So under routes, go in there and uncomment that, and then let's go to controllers. Oops, where is it? Controllers, and uncomment this bit of code in here. Control save, and let's run our project. So npm run develop. That's going to go and build the Strapi front end. It will pick up our newly generated API bundle for it to then become available through the Strapi admin panel. So our Strapi admin panel can be accessed through here. In my username. Okay, so now we are into the Strapi admin panel. And as you can see, it's completely empty. The only collection type that we can see in here is users, which is the default. And we'll look into that further on down the track. For now, let's just focus on settings, users and permissions plugin. Click on roles, click on public, and we can see that our API bundle is now available, which is the example method that we can see available under controllers, example action, and then exposed through the route under the handler, example action. Right, so what we want to do is, let's just customize this a little. Let's rename the example action to comments. That's on the route. So I've replaced the name for comments. And now let's go to our controller, replace that method name to comments so that it matches the route. Let's restart the Strapi admin. It's going to rebuild for it to then become available and manageable through the interface. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so now let's do a reload. Our bundle remains the same, but the method name has now changed. Now, to enable this endpoint, all we have to do is click that, save, and then this will become available. If we go to the browser and click on getting started, we can see that it returns an OK response. That OK response is under your controllers file, getting started. And here's the response. So let's just say, OK, hello world. Because I'm so original, I'm going to stick to originality. I'm going to reload that. And OK, hello world. Boom. Now, let's just say that we want to customize this a little bit further. I'm going to very quickly copy some code over that I've prepared earlier. And what we're going to do now is we're going to expand and enable our API endpoint on the controllers, which is where we want to keep our business logic, to communicate with an external party. I'm using a mock API that's publicly available to everyone. And if we go here, it's basically this website right here, which again, I'll list on the details below. But it's just something that enables us to test our code, front end and back end for when developing quickly. Right, so now what we're going to do is let's just reload that same endpoint. And we can now see that it's fetching information from an external API through our Strapi interface. If I wanted to disable our Strapi admin endpoint, what we do is we go back to the to the API management, unselect that, save. That's now been completed. Let's go back and reload this bit of code. Boom. Right then and there, we've managed security and access to an API as you wish. On our next steps, we're going to further expand that by adding security and generating a token that can be verifiable. But for now, let's just re-enable that, save, reload, and Bob's your uncle. Let me just show you what I promised. I promised you security out of the box, so let me demonstrate.
What are you on?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's fizzle time. Let's add some extra salt and pepper on top of our security to strengthen how people can access or not access our API endpoints. Now, if you recall, I disabled the endpoint access. Let me just save that again. And if I reload this, it returns a 403. It's hidden, completely inaccessible to anyone. How do we enable that under a secure condition? Let's go to API tokens underneath global settings, add the new token security. So in this case, let's just call it comments. And we're going to call this showtime.
It's showtime. Showtime?
This is the truth or dare, or thereabouts. Now, select the bundle that we're looking to enable. When you select the token type, it automatically selects the actual endpoint. Here, we keep the same endpoint path that we've been using. Let's just save that. Let's copy the generated token, because once you navigate away from this window, that token will be gone. Okay, so it's completely secret. Right, so how do we test that? Let's go to Postman. For this example, we're using the exact endpoint that we've been testing thus far. And I'm going to, let me just delete this. So underneath authorization, so body, parameters, what have you, authorization, go to the auth type, select bearer token, paste the newly generated token that we've just copied.
Hour later,
and request the data, and we get a status 200 with the data that we've been seeing previously on the publicly available API. So let's go back to the publicly available API underneath here. Let me just zoom that in a little bit more. Fetch, and we still get a 403. So it is only accessible through our secured token strengthened endpoint. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how quickly we go from zero to hero. Over the next few videos, we're going to create a fully functional, production-ready application that's ready to rock, and not to mention secured. Stay tuned.
It's a celebration.
All right, that's a wrap. How simple was that? What did we do? We created a custom endpoint using the npx command within Strapi. That endpoint then became available through the admin panel. We were able to provide public access to that API and then take that access away and enforce security by adding an API token that even had an expiry date. And all of this was done within the admin panel itself and didn't touch any code. And that, my friends, is how we start our journey into 10x backend development. On our next few videos, we're going to cover how to access validated data, having a registered user, and validate that user, making sure that they've got the right access, plus using security and communicating with other APIs and plugins, all within the Strapi framework. Until next time, hope you enjoyed it. Arrivederci.